Welcome to the behind the scenes of our new short film. Let's go!
We don't have a name yet.
It's Final Destination inspired.
But he doesn't want to make it funny, so it's a serious horror film.
Oh, if you haven't watched it, go watch it now. There.
So I prepared everything for the shoot. By the way, I freaking cleaned this thing 20 times with every single cleaning thing that exists. But every time it dried off, it just looked like a never before cleaned sink. I just couldn't help it. How do you clean? Of course, these smeared windows were totally on purpose to add to the characters. Anyways, then the guys came over and we first had a little dinner break. So we were completely full before we started shooting. Great. Before we shot the knife scene thing, we had the great idea to document that some of the holes in my kitchen counter were not from this scene. No, they were there before. Good thinking for insurance. And then we did one test run if Michael would be able to realistically slam himself into the kitchen with the, of course, prop knife in his hand, because the scene was of course mandatory for the conclusion of the film. I'd say he passed the test.
We're gonna start off with a little tip. Sometimes things don't work out in first try, so we bought everything twice. We have 2 times the same olive oil, which was very expensive, 2 of the same pack of noodles, which is gonna be very important for this story. And we got 50 grocery bags, because you can't buy a single one, a single unbranded one. You can buy 250 or 50. Always buy enough props.
Then it was time for the first shot of the film, which was also one of the hardest shots in the film, which was the first shot, the intro shot, with a long gimbal movement of her walking up the stairs, some camera movement, and then once she's up the stairs, a little focus pull that I managed to pull off with a tap to focus on the Sony a7S III to focus on the TV of the guy playing some Call of Duty, which was, by the way, Easter egg, a Call of Duty gameplay from one of my old gaming channels, which you won't find. And then another tab to focus on her face again when she's rolling her eyes, being annoyed about him always playing Call of Duty. In the beginning I was kind of scared because no matter where I went, I was always in the reflection of the window, but we managed to pull it off. We did the wide shots from very far on a 50mm and set to the right so me and the camera are not in the frame. And for the gimbal shots, we just cut right where she moves to the side and I come into frame in the reflection of the window. We just cut to another angle. Now for the creative angles, I had to do some very acrobatic stuff. One example right here, the kitchen we're shooting in looks like this. The sink is right here, so guess how we created this top-down shot of pouring water into the pot? Yep, that's me on the kitchen counter like this. Also right here next to the stovetop, trying not to put my foot on the hot stove. And what the hell? Look at this posture. It's a 90-degree angle. What the hell? Then we did the dropping one noodle thing. The shots leading up to the scene were easy. We basically did all of them first try.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Nice. However, the drop and landing scene of course depended on pure luck, so we did about 25 takes to have it land perfectly in frame and in focus. Like this.
Nein, bottle flip, Alter.
We did, again, about 25 takes. Every other drop, the noodle would break in half, so there was a lot of noodle breaking, but worth the final take, which looked like this. Also, we had the scenes leading up to the scene of putting the noodles into the pot, where we just didn't film inside the pot, so the water did not have to boil. But of course, once we put the noodles in, we needed some boiling water. So the logistics were kind of hard, because of course, if we had boiling water the entire time, maybe it would spill, then we would have kind of this burning water, and everything would have been hot, so we wouldn't be able to clean it right away. Then we would have to wait until it's cold, clean it again, try to set everything back up. And of course it also wouldn't be the best for the sound if we had the boiling water in the background the entire time. So the logistics were kind of timing wise a little bit hard. And because of that, we also had one mistake that snuck into the shots. Right here, as you can see, since we put on and off the stove several times to get the different shots from different angles, the stove indicates that the plates are hot, which it does by having this red light on. You can't really turn it off, it only turns off if you wait until the stove is cold again, and then it turns off, but again, timing wise, not that good. And also we just didn't recognize it. So we were stuck with this red light in the shot, which was an easy fix. I just used the magnetic mask inside Final Cut, track this red dot in the first half of the shot, then it gets covered by her hand, and then in the second half of the shot, and then without any feathering, just lowering the brightness and the exposure, and it's gone, you can't see it anymore. Then we did the whole cutting thing with the tomatoes. Also sounds easier than it was. Again, a logistical nightmare, especially continuity wise. Probably most viewers wouldn't even recognize it, but I would, so it had to be perfect. Next, here's how we did the Dolly gimbal shot, moving from the guy playing PlayStation to the girlfriend getting noodles scene with a focus pull as a one-man camera crew. It looks like this. Again, my back hates me and I use tap to focus for the focus pull. Speaking of logistical nightmares a lot in this behind the scenes, let's get to trying to let the water run a certain way and making it look very paranormal. Tried one time, everything's a wet mess, patting everything dry, and I mean everything, you can't see it was wet before because of continuity. And also, of course, the phone wasn't plugged into the power outlet for these scenes. So after a lot of trial and error with the water, we got some inserts of the walking by the noodle until we finally captured the slipping. Fun fact right here, the foot and leg slipping is actually the guy and not the girl, so Michael, not Rabea.
So since Rabea isn't able to slip on a noodle, Michael is now getting her pants to do it because he is able to do it.
Yep, the slipping was just Michael with one leg in Rabea's pants, since that was everything visible in the frame. Which is basically the definition of movie making magic. I mean, come on! These shots of the television were done with the Edelkrone Slider I bought in 2021. Glad it got used for like the first time in a real project ever. It's a great product, don't get me wrong. It was just, I'm just never using it. The impact of her falling down actually looked like this because, of course, Rabea didn't want to hurt her head, pussy. So I just did that with some speed ramps and a hard cut to make the impact seem more punchy, just like with fist punches in fist fights, shaking the camera a lot and a few different angles with cuts and a sound effect of an impact of a body falling. And then with the camera on the same position of this small Manfrotto Pixie tripod, we did not only shoot the girl laying on the floor unconscious, no, we also shot Michael's fall and just roughly tried to match his stabbing motion to where Rabea's belly would have been in the shot before. In post, I just aligned the two shots, masked out Rabea, and then added some blood splatters for the impact, some PNG splatters revealing themselves on the kitchen counter side, and adjusted the red tint of the brightness to better match the scene. Add some sound effects, and there we go. And for the last scene, since it made the biggest mess, we shot the oil scene. Dropping an oil bottle without making a mess, at least without making a mess several times, and without breaking the glass if it really falls, I filled an Amazon package with a lot of padding, also not to waste the very expensive oil. For the oil spilling scene, I emptied the expensive oil bottle and replaced it with cheap oil. Don't be wasteful, kids. So that is how it looked behind the scenes. I just had my camera slightly out of frame, pushing but actually also kind of holding the oil bottle so it just knocks over but not falls down. So everything spilled and oiled up the padded package, no diddy by the way. And then for the close-up, I just put it on the floor just out of frame to nail the position and focus in the image. Since we did the knocking over of the oil bottle several times, in this final take that we wanted to use, there was already some oil spilled on the counter and nobody noticed. So I just did a little retouch just in Final Cut, masked out a small portion of the kitchen counter where there is no oil, and then moving it to the side and patching it up like this. Then we did the fold down knife grab stitch together out of several takes so that the camera perfectly follows the hand knife motion, and also so that it was relatively safe to shoot, I guess. And finally, here's Michael slipping in the oil. For this shot, of course, without the knife, from every position we captured it from.
Das sah richtig gut aus. Oh, ich hab mich aufgehoben.
By the way, Rabea desperately wants to portray a monster in the movie, so she auditioned in this one again. Someday, I promise. So the sun was rising, the guys left, I left the kitchen as it is, because it was a problem for another day, and went to bed. The end.
The entire kitchen floor is full of olive oil. We are done. We finished just in time before it got bright outside. Almost didn't make it, but timed the shots perfectly.
That's it from this video. That's how we shot our latest horror short film. Well, horror short film, Final Destination inspired short film. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button and also consider subscribing right here for more videos just like this one. The final short film is right here, another short film is right here, and the behind the scenes of this short film is also right here. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
It's been a long time when I see you again.